Good morning again, brother and sister. Very happy to have this opportunity to share this Sigalovada Sutta with everyone this blessed morning. Before I start, probably I would like to do a quick survey. Um, this topic is about duties of husband and wives. And we are still with the themes of um, harmonious living, right? And guidance to a so-called the meaningful life, right? Today's topic we focus on the aspects of husband and wife dyadic system, right? Before we start, maybe I would like to have a show of hand by my observation. I think the combinations of husband and wife probably will not be balanced. I mean, in terms of age group, right? So, how many of you here is a husband or a wife? Raise your hand. Okay, all right. So, how many of you is a husband or a wife with young children? Okay, young means kindergarten and below. No one, no one. Okay. How many of you, as a husband and wife, with middle children? Middle here is primary school children. Okay. With adolescents, secondary school. Okay, quite many. With colleges students. Okay. All right. How many is already having grandchildren? Okay, thank you. All right. In fact, I do this is just to get a snapshot about the among you where you are in terms of the family life cycle, right? So when talking about husband and wife, uh, it is not static, right? It is not static. We are continuing the achieving harmony in life's relationship. So when talking about relationship, the closest persons to us, if we are married, is our partner. Is our partner. So we're going to discuss about the husband and wife relationship and how this Sigalovada Sutta can help us as a guide for us when we deal with our husband and wife, right? The questions that I asked just now, in fact, related to this picture. So there are five basically mini pictures on the slides. And I asked because basically husband and wife, they spend time together in throughout the development stages of development from starting from what? Huh? But thought is not certain yet. You start off a family. True or not? Husband and wife relationship started with marriage, which is the second one. The second one, right? And usually, future husband and future wives put lots of effort here in terms of relationship lah. And not to say no effort, but not that concern, not that concern in terms of wives or husbands after this. After this. Why do you think so? Why do you think that happens? According to research, huh? Why do you think that happens? Already got contract, then you cannot breach the contract, or not. Otherwise, you have to be you have to pay the price. All right, lots of commitments. Yes, commitments is involved, right? Sorry. Yes, priorities of lives change. Expectations also change. Taking things for granted, right? This is our individual attitude change, right? And because of these changes, in fact, is related to the changes of our stage of life. True or not? Do you agree if I say so? Yeah. Stage of life change, our age change, our thinking change, right? And how we perceive things also change. And because of that changes, so-called impermanence. Life is impermanence, right? If we don't look at that impermanence, probably we will be facing lots of challenges, more difficulties. But if you can see the impermanence, so-called impermanence, in academic or scholastic term, we will call it as stage of development. If you don't see that impermanence, it can cause problem to that individual, either husband or wife. All right. Now, today we are going to discuss more about the husband and wife relationship according to the Buddha's advice to Sigalaka. Right. Let's look at the next slide. Now, just now we mentioned the husband and wife's relationship starts from a marriage. True or not? Why do you want to get married? Still puzzle, right? Okay, good question. I like the questions. We still have no answer for that. But okay, another question. Why do you choose your wife? Why do you choose your husband? No answer also. No answer? Sorry? To settle down. To find someone to settle down. Yeah? It's a journey lah. Okay, so because it's the nature of life, right? So when we come to it, we have to cross the bridge, something like that. You mean? So the person can be is reliable, and we trust that person also. True or not? We trust, and then we want to spend the rest of the life with that person, right? Like for example, I choose my wife. I'm thinking of to spend my rest of my life with her. I'm not thinking of trying trying out the relationship, right? So that is the first thought. I believe so. I believe that this person I can trust, and I can spend life with that person, right? So trust. Just now we talk about commitment. Now we talk about trust. These two terms are important. Later we talk about it, right? Okay, now it starts from marriage. In fact, when look at marriage, marriage is just a sign, it's just a milestone to mark that husband and wife come together and start the journey together, right? But many of us, we don't in fact have experience going through the journey that we will be going together. But we heard of lots of experiences, lots of like maybe inputs or information about husband and wife should be like this and like that. If you have a child, you should do this and do that. If your child grow up to this level, you should be like this and like that. We have those information, but we have not gone through yet. True or not? But we trust that individual to be able to go through that. However, we take for granted those information. Can lah, I can do it lah. Because this is nature of human being. self-serving kind of like tendency. I can do it, no worries. I can bring up my child, no worries. You know, I can have 2, 3 children, no worries. All right. So these tend to be so-called the attitude, right? Attitude which is uh, taking things for granted. Then we focus more on the ceremonial things, taking photo. Then what do you call where to set up the receptions, right? How to make it more ceremonial, and then who to invite and etc. But we pay very less attentions on what we be going through later. We focus on that starting point only, right? So once that is done, consider done. Thrown up. This is what I experienced. I do not know the rest, but this is what I think majority of people are going through this process, right? And according to social scientists, they've conducted research and they found that many couples, husband and wife, they have the highest satisfactions of marital satisfactions during the early stage of marriage. That means without children. The first stage is without children. Consider honeymoon or not? Honeymoon. Why is that honeymoon? Because when we want to plan our what do you call holiday, we don't have to consider our children or not. We can go set a day, then we go. So when we want to go out, just anytime we can go outing. Where no need to bring the milk bottle or another extra bed. No worries one. So that marked the highest marital satisfaction during that time. And the lowest marital satisfaction, you know when? Children, couples with secondary school children. Secondary school children, according to research, that stage, husband and wife have the most challenges time, right? Why do you think is that stage is the most challenges, most challenging? Okay, yes, I agree. Yes, yes, true. Uh, uh, that is that not happening in early stage during the primary or kindergarten time? Uh, yes, because during adolescence there is another individual or individuals who face a critical kind of like transition changes happen in your family. Not only us changing, someone is also changing in the family, right? Sometimes one person, not only one person, many peoples are changing in the family as well throughout the lifespan. If those who live in with the elders, they have to face the changes of the elderly people, right? So these give more challenges, especially when child turn to adolescent, secondary age, and our parents is older already. Okay, all right. Now, look, just now we talk about marriage, Trona. So marriage, there are two concerns when we talk about marriage. Just now we have already mentioned about feelings and rational. Many of us, we focus on what ceremonial times aspects only. Then we didn't, in fact, talk about what to prepare. Then, now next point. Next point. Many of us also, even after getting married, we presume or we expect marriage must be perfect. True or not? Perfect mean must be no argument, right? Husband and wives must be very, very intimate, lovey dovey, right? Something like that, very close. and then spend time together, always holding hand, eating together, right? That's a concept, right? And this misconception usually create lots of problem between husband and wife, right? That's this kind of like conception or perfections about marriage. But in fact, marriage, like what we mentioned just now, it involves commitment, involves trust. Those are the two base, right? So we have to in fact focus on functional. Functional here has been mentioned by Buddha 2,600 years ago. Talk about functional couples, functional individual, functional family, right? Functional here means argument can happen, but have to be functional. Then what is mean by functional? According to Buddha, Buddha have stated that in Sigalovada Sutta, Buddha stated there are duties of husbands to wife and also duties of a wife to a husband. Let's discuss about this from the perspective of Buddha, right? Now look, in 5 ways, young householder should a wife as the West be administered by a husband. This is when the Buddha had a discourse to Sigalaka, right? And then asking about what they call the worshipping of 6 direction. And one of the directions symbolize the West, symbolize the husband and wife, right? So there are 5, in fact, advice given. Duties of a husband to a wife. Husband should be courteous to a wife. What does it mean by courteous? That means must be respectful, right? And this seldom happen after getting married, especially when have got a first child or many children. Why? Because lots of focus or attention is on children, work, house chores, and we neglect that aspect. Doesn't mean we don't do that, but we neglected it. We prioritize something else. True or not? Because busy at work, taking care of children and etc. When you have one baby, you carry the baby, mother carry the baby. You when your husband come close to you, sometimes you feel irritated also. True or not? Or you feel okay, baby is crying. You have to focus attentions on baby or maybe some other task, right? And become a mother in a different stage, right? So this this remind us this being courteous remind us, in fact, at whatever stage we are as a husband and wife, we need to be respectful to our partner. And according to a research also, one of the predictors that can predict divorce is lacking of this this courtesy. Lacking of courtesy. That means husband tend to criticize in terms of wife's personality, or wife tends to criticize husband's personality, criticism. Another is attacking, kind of like contempt. That means abusive, physically, verbally, mentally, right? So these 2. One is criticism. Another one is being abusive. These are the 2 predators. The end of marriage, right? So we need to pay respects, not to say pay respect, to show respect to our partner. In fact, from time to time, that is important. And this is related to the 3rd one. Let's look at the 3rd one before going back to the 2nd. 3rd one is being faithful, right? So if everyone remember our precepts, the 3rd precepts, right, is have to be, if a married person, have to be faithful to our partner, right? To abstain from sexual misconduct. Abstain from sexual misconduct, in fact, is to be faithful to our partner. Now, look, if we keep precepts, we build up what we call a faith in terms of our conduct, and we can show trust to our partner, then for sure that can enhance or that can strengthen the relationship. True or not? True or not? So if you keep precepts, but if you don't keep precepts, we spend time maybe outside because of work, or maybe dealing with clients or what, which are different gender. Probably that can create lots of like suspicions to the other one, to the other partner. True or not? That probably can cause so-called suspicions and etc. And probably for those who don't keep precepts, the tendency of being unfaithful is there. Why? Maybe I would like to share some, like, for example, a case, right? Husband is a very business person and has to do lots of like this entertainment, so having kind of like meeting clients and etc. in the park and etc. Then when a person is not keeping precepts during this entertainment, drinking is considered quite normal. True or not? Drinking. So when you take one or two, doesn't matter. I still can keep it. I can stand with that. 1 and 2 cups of beer, and then with maybe customer is also different gender, and then customer or client is also very like friendly, with the effects of lighting also, and effects of the perfume, that senses stimulate the senses, which making us intoxicated. Right? Then that is a kind of thoughts arising. Then you have the thoughts arise in your mind. If that happen frequently, tendency of falling to in love one another will be high. True or not? Tendencies is there lah. But if you keep precepts, you can avoid this. And we practice mindfulness. It can always remind us what to behave, what to do, what not to do. True or not? So this is about being faithful to our partner. And being faithful to the partner also, like at home, like for example, we need to show respect in not only being faithful, abstain from the so-called the influence, external influence, but internally at home, we need to also like to have respectful kind of relationship, right? Maybe I would like to relate to what they call maybe a kind of like our physiological needs, right? Physiological between husband and wife. Sometime there will be misunderstanding, and there will be lots of arguments, lots of problem will happen because of that relationship is not being managed well, right? And husbands thinking of wanting a kind of like expectations from the wife, and then a wife is having different kind of expectation that can cause misunderstanding and conflicts, and then these conflicts, which is not resolved, can create more problem, and then challenges plus challenges from outside, and then the relationship will be very much affected. Okay, so that is being courteous, respectful to our wife, our husband, in terms of their needs, in terms of their thinking, their opinion also, right? That is also important. And then not by despising them, not belittle them, I would like to share this with you, Belita. I have an experience. I like to do this like plumbing, fixing things lah at home. So after doing this, usually these are my work. Sometime when I face this situation, when I fix something, I have problem. Problem means how to do. For example, plumbing, you have to join the pipes and etc. And then how to fix it, how to this one we need to look at it, right? Sometimes this thing we have not done it, then we encounter problem. So when our wife see us are busy, try to ask us, hey, what happened? Then you don't know lah. You this is you don't have to questions about it. You don't know about it. We think that she doesn't know, but in fact, she can point out what to do. So I try out once, it works. That means even though they do not know how to fix it, but their idea is there. They see see the problem, and they tell us the problem, where is the problem, and how to do it. We can do it. They cannot, but they see it, right? So we tend to belittle them. We tend to belittle because of our idea, because of our belief, right? So never, never belittle, and by handling over authority to them. Authority here, I think, is also interesting. I think not only me is too objective, if I say so. Like for example, many families, wife will be in charge or the minister of finance, not home minister, finance minister lah, right? But some family probably finance minister is husband, right? Home affair is wife. Okay, doesn't matter. But now, what matter is when the wife or the husband carry out the duty or the responsibility, being the minister for that particular aspect. And the other one sometimes interfere. Interference, I think, is sometimes can cause also argument and also conflicts, right? Say for example, my wife doesn't like me to mess the kitchen. Okay, so I have to respect. I cannot think that, oh, kitchen is also a chip in one. This house is we built together one. Let's say, if I think so, there will be a problem already. But if there is a part under her responsibility, her authority, because I don't keep kitchen, she keep kitchen, so we have to follow her rules lah, kitchen's rule, right? So that is a kind of like authority. If the wife is responsible for child rearing, then we need to give space to the wife in terms of rearing the child or rearing children, right? Maybe we can give some idea, we give some information or advice, but we cannot interfere. That is also important when we hand over authority to her, being the home minister, right? Being a home minister, then when she carry out the duty as home minister, we need to respect and we need to trust her carry out the duty, right? That is important. And then providing her adornment. This one, maybe during Buddha's time, many women are not working. They were not working, So like clothing wise, clothes, these are provided by husband lah. And husband is also the breadwinner. But time change. Now women also, if you buy things to them, they don't want you to buy for them. So not, I don't know, me. I try many times, but I fail. So it doesn't work. But I think in terms of supporting them, if they would like, we need to be with them, right? Otherwise, like for example, I see this also, me myself including, when go shopping, we sit outside the bench there waiting, then they go shopping, right? But if I think many wives, they would like the husband to accompany them and maybe to give them some idea, because wearing Beautiful clothes is sometimes also to show us, true or not? To wanting some praise from us. But we reluctantly wanting to do that with them, right? This is so-called the negligence that usually we have after married, right? After getting married, yes. Sister. Yeah, yeah, good idea, good idea. Pay more attention. But I think all this advice, the last one is material wise, we support our wife, lah. Material wise, okay. So that is the advice from the Buddha to a husband. Now, another supporting, I think, what they call points that why we should, as a husband, we should pay more respect to our wives. We shouldn't belittle them. These are the five, I think, things peculiar to women. Only women can do, men cannot. I think this is worth to highlight to everyone. According to Buddha, Buddha said, these are the five things woman is very special to a woman, and they are. It's not easy to be carrying this kind of situation, to be in that kind of situation. Number one, woman has to leave the family, join husband's family. That is number one. True or not? During those time, I think more taking more seriously in terms of that. But nowadays, people getting married, then afternoon go back to maternal house already, go to wife's house already. True or not? Even that quite normal. And this nowadays lah. But those time they have to sacrifice. That means they have to maybe if arrange what more if arrange marriage, right? Arrange marriage, they have to leave the family and then have to travel to the husband's family and settle down there. If they want to go back, also they need to get permission. To get permission, I want to go back and etc. So this is a kind of like peculiar to women, not easy. And women subject to menstruation, and this is also happen starting this adolescence. This happens already. It's not easy. Also, I have two daughters, one wife. So basically, 75% at home is lady. So I can feel that it's not easy, not convenient at all. So this is very peculiar to women. Women become pregnant. This is also not easy. I have chance to enter labor room to witness my two daughters. So my first daughter quite smooth. I think a few hours only from getting the pain to delivery, quite fast. And when the babies is coming out, also very smooth. But the second daughter, it take longer time. The painful situation is quite long, and even when pushing out the baby, even worse. Until I have to take over nurse role. Yeah, really. The nurse probably, I'm not sure, it's become a routine to them. They have been like receiving this mother frequently, so probably is because of that they think is okay. But I say not okay. Then I ask, I take over. I sit beside my wife. I say, now look at my instruction. When I say you when I say you push, otherwise don't. Really, it's not easy. Yeah, because I was there. The second daughter, it's not easy at all. My wife was pushing, I think, all out already. The baby's head is not up yet. So what I can do is I told the nurse, let me try. So when I took over, I can see, I give instruction, right? So now you hold up your breath. I say ready, you push, push, and then hold. You cannot let go all the breath, right? You have to hold on your abdomen. Hold. Okay, take breath. Now push. Then only the babies, managed to. Thanks. So managed to baby come out. They came out, right? So I consider myself fortunate. Two daughters I witnessed. I enter and managed to see them come out. One baby coming out crying. Second baby coming out never cry. They have to put the pipe into, shut all the kind of like fluid something. Then only the baby cry and etc. So quite fortunate for me to witness that lah, right? So it's not easy, pregnancy, especially 10 months and then deliver time. Not easy. Women give birth, just now I said already, pregnant and giving birth. Last one, a woman is made to serve a man, right? And at home, I think still now, now, not only among Chinese custom, tradition, many other tradition also, they expect women to serve, at home during the festive season, and cooking wise, a woman have to cook, women have to buy these materials and cook and serve and etc. Right? So this is still now we are facing. So Buddha said these are quite difficult to a woman, which I think is worth for a husband to acknowledge. I think we acknowledge that, but we need to appreciate. I think is better, right? To appreciate this aspect. Now, duty of a wife to a husband. Buddha also mentioned as a wife what a wife's responsibility should be. Number one, perform her duties. So the duties here, including planning what to buy for a week, right? I think these wives do quite a lot, lah. Planning the weekend, and then go and do marketing, keep for a week, cook for a week. Then what to do? Organize and etc. Right? Husband rarely do this. Me, especially, I didn't do this, but my wife did it. Okay, so quite. I think this is tedious things, tedious. So wives should perform this, as I say, not easy. You have you have that nature. I would say you have that nature, that detail to do this chores, and a wife should also hospitable, hospitable. Hospitable to relations and attendants. I think this is also very important to a wife, especially when serving our family members and also our relatives. They come to visit us. Have to be fair, when a wife's family come over to visit, we have to cook a good food. When husband's family come over, we have to maintain the same cooking. And no what do you call, cut corner. That means sometimes that happens. I heard a lot of a problem arises. The disagreement is because of serving food to different family also. Oh, my family come over and visit, you cook this only, but your family come and visit, you cook this. All right, that happened, right? So I think should be hospitable. She is faithful, like her husband also. Wife should be faithful. She protects what he brings. What he brings here, those time I think husband is the main so-called income, what do you call, earner at home, right? So whatever husband earn to bring to the family, the wife as a home affair should protect the property, not spend simply, right? And that is the case of like especially during this era. Shopee is quite convenient, or not? Shopee. Another one is Lazada, and they have this regular kind of promotion. 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11. These are very attractive to some housewife. If you don't, if you are not working, usually you will be looking at this lah, true or not? And Korean drama also. So when you look at it, you tend to be affected, right? So if we look at that and being affected by that, and we will tend to buy a lot, even though we are not aware that we have bought quite a number because it's cheap offer and got voucher, free voucher, something like that, free delivery. Then you have the tendency to get more. Doesn't mean that it's not okay. It's okay when it is necessary. But sometimes it's overbuying. It can cause a problem also. It can cause a problem. So we should protect the not simply spend, unnecessarily and etc. Right? She is skilled and industrious in discharging her duty, and the skillful and also industrious here referring to must be diligent, means diligent. So, like for example, those time you have being a wife is not easy. Those time. Nowadays also not easy, even though the form has changed, but the difficulties is still the same. Those time they have, if being a housewife, they have to wake up early before anyone else at home, right? They have to perform duty, everything, and then going to sleep also last. So it's not easy. You have to be industrious, and then have to be skillful also, right? Skillful means not creating lots of like difficulty. Like for example, if being a housewife, especially not working, when you cook for the family, I have to make sure that the cooking can be done before our our what I call children's home from school. That can be done already, and maybe before the husband came home from work, that can be done already. So everything is ready to be served. That can make the life smooth without any unnecessary argument. But if been slightly probably like when children come home wanting to eat, feeling hungry, you're still not ready, then can cause the children feeling unhappy. The children probably will be demanding and cause you feeling not happy also, and you also screaming, yelling at them. They also become elder already. They are now adolescents. They talk back to you. Some more can give more anger to you and etc. These are necessary things will happen. But if this can be managed skillfully, and I think that can be avoided. Lots of things can be avoided. So these are the duties of a wife to a husband, according to Buddha's advice. I think the duties, the advice given by Buddha to a husband and a wife, still very applicable until now. Thrown up, very applicable and very useful also. If you look at the stages of so-called family life cycle just now, after married, we have to follow this guideline. When we follow this guideline, at least we have a guide in our married life. When you have a guideline in your married life, lots of unnecessary so-called negative things won't happen, will be avoided. Okay, so that is what we neglect so far. Doesn't mean we don't want to do. It means we neglect it. All right, now probably this is also a good sutta we would like to share with everyone. In fact, many of us would like to keep up the relationship between husband and wife. Sometime, okay, this life, since we are happy together, I need to extend the agreement. Next life, we come again together. Let's say, but ultimately, being a Buddhist, being what do you call, Buddhist practitioner, we look for the so-called um, uh, ultimate happiness, which is, of course, having a what do you call, enlightenment, or not enlightenment. That's another one. Free from any like samsara lah, from this samsara world, right? So if we can like being happy even in the samsara world, that will be a good, right? Will be good. Now, there are 5 situations that are difficult to obtain for a woman who has not done married. Sometime you have wish also, right? You want to like you want to be born in a good family. You want to have good children, obedient to you. They are fine. You want to also have a good husband, right? And we want to be also married to a family which is very conducive to us, right? So these are the situation. If you wish to, I think it won't be achieved without merit. That means we need to do lots of condition in future, right? So may I born into suitable family, marry into suitable family, dwell at home without rival. That means you feel conducive, you like being at home, right? And then after being a conducive home, you have a son or you have a child, and then abide with my husband under my control. That means you can follow lah. This statement is not you control your husband. No, this statement means you can easily follow your husband's so-called instructions, and you can collaborate with your husband, so-called, right? Doesn't mean that I can control my husband, right? I have already Google translate and translate already, and it means, in fact, those time, wife has to abide by the rules of the family or the husband. What husband say, wife have to follow. True or not? So this statement means, as a wife, I can easily accept and easily follow what the instructions given by the husband, something like that, right? So if you wish to have such a condition, you need to do lots of merit, right? So that is also worth to get, worth to look at it. All right, now another 5 minutes, right? Let's look at this slide. I think this is important. According to research, 5:50. You still have time? Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry. I thought it's 10:40, 10:50. No, This factor predictive of divorce. Just now we talk about family life cycle. Family start with marriage, true or not? Then we focus a lot before marriage, and then we neglect very much after marriage. And what should be taken notes is what we should be doing when we got married, true or not? And then Buddha also advises what should a husband do and what should a wife do after getting married. But we neglect those responsibility, right? Now, we travel from the Buddha's advice 2,600 years ago back to now. Those advice still is very, very applicable. Now, what is the situation currently when people apply science looking at human behavior? looking at social issue and etc. These are the 4 factors that can predict husbands and wives relationship ends. Just now we mentioned 2 already. Number 1 is criticism. Never criticize our wives, our husband personality. I aware this when I have got the first child. Because after getting married, we live together, true or not? Different culture background, different lifestyle, different values, different beliefs also. When living together, we have to embrace that. Huh? For the first maybe year or second, it's still okay. Okay lah, don't worry, I can take it. But over the years, when you have children and etc., we tend to neglect that already. True or not? Focus is not more there. And then we have the tendency, so-called attitudes of taking things for granted. Then when family come together, we will say, oh, my wife is this and that, like this, like that. How many of you, this is my experience lah. When I say this, I share this, my wife's personality with my family members. She doesn't like, but she has been keeping it until first, got the first baby. Then only I realized that is not right. How many of you, as a wife or as a husband, you don't like your partner say something about it to your friends or to others? So you are okay lah with that? Oh, okay, good. Majority okay, huh? Well, okay, good. All right. But you still it's already conditioned. It's already conditioned. But some, I would say some wives and husband, they don't like that. Even though it's not so destructive, it's not so harmful, but they just don't like it. We have to respect lah. But if you do not know, then I think once you know, you have to respect that, I think. So that is criticism, but sometimes criticism is more serious, is more destructive. I think it can cause conflict among the husband, between husband and wife, right? So criticism and also contempt, just now we say abusive attitude. Now look at the second one. Also a predictor. If husband and wife not, that means denying responsibility of certain behavior, right? So you try not to pick up your responsibility as a wife or as a husband at home. And that is also a predictor already, right? Like for example, what you should be doing, you're not doing. Like what Buddha said just now, right? Those are the duties you don't do. That will be the predictor. And Buddha said is correct. You know what? According to statistic, I got a paper from Sri Lanka. 53% of marriage turn out unsuccessful. It means more than half marriage unsuccessful. That's in Sri Lanka. According to, if you remember, Acharya Sangchai shared with us, 2018 to 2019, the rates of divorce is in Malaysia 12. In 2021, it increased to 30 something, 32 if not mistaken. 32%, 21 and 22, years of 21 and 22. That means it's increased. So if the rate increase, there must be reason, right? And one of the reason probably can be related to what the advice from the Buddha has not been performed between husband and wife. Not respectful. Criticism is not respectful. Abusive is not respectful. True or not? That is not respectful. Defensiveness, what you should be doing, you are not doing, but you defend yourself. Right? You're not doing. I work so hard already, so tired, you want me to clean toilet some more? right? Defensive. So that is a predictor already. And then stonewalling. Stonewalling here, that means you try to cut off, emotionally cut off. That one, you don't want to involve lah. Whatever your wife popek, you don't want to involve. It's not upeka. That is a stonewalling. That stonewalling, right? So stonewalling, refuse to interact, right? Refuse to interact. So we need to take up that responsibility, or we need to take up that challenge to face. All right. So these are the predictor. If that happen, take those as our guide. If that happen to us, probably we need to look at the relationship. Now, this is given by Gottman. Gottman is a family therapist working on marriage and family over 20 over years, and he did quite a lot of this research on marriage. Right? He's from emeritus professor from Washington University, and he also promoted or highlighted the way to build a relationship. That is very important. He started with trust and commitment. You see, just now we mentioned the two important pillars. When we want to get married to someone, of course, that person is the person who we trust. True or not? I trust you, lah. I want to get married with you. The trust is there. That is the pillar. The second one, I think I can get rid of the obstacle if I live together with you. Involve commitment. Commitment. I believe I can do that with you together. So the commitment here referring to when there is financial problem, both work together to face it. When there is issues of children, both have to work together to deal with it. When they have the extended family issue, both have to deal with it, right? So this is what it called commitment, right? So trust with the trust and commitment, if those are the two pillars taken note by husband and wife, and then it can provide a better foundations to this house or to this relationship. Now, what if relationship between husband and wife is already like declining? Still, we can do something on it? Yes, we can do. Now, according to Gottman say we can start off with building love maps. This is Mark Saleh's term, love maps. Maybe people in Asian, they are not that expressive, to show love. But in fact, the love maps here is referring to, we need to understand our partner. We need to know what she likes again. What she likes before married compared to what she like now is different, different already. Because we grow up already. We are now entering early adult, no more early adulthood, entering the middle adulthood, and then towards late adulthood already. The liking will be different. The preference will be different. The way seating is also different. Interest different. Perceptions, all those will be different. So we need to remap. Go get back to our wife. If you still remember, Brother Sanchai say, did you look at your wife's eyes or not? Look at your wife or your husband's eye. Have a longer eye contact and see what happened. Probably that need to regain, to remap. So map a love map here means we need to start understand the person that who is our partner so far. We need to understand her condition, his situation now, taking care of the children, doing the house chores, how busy she or he is, what made her so angry, what made him so grumble. So this we need to find out already, right? That is a kind of like map. We can start off mapping this, and then these two level share fondness. We like what we like, what we don't like. We need to tell, communicate lah. We need to tell our partner, to tell them, to let them know, and then not to turn away, not to you don't understand lah, then you turn away. We need to communicate, right? And then use a positive perspective. Positive perspective here referring to we look at a positive side of our partner lah. Of course, there are lots of like negative maybe aspect which we don't agree with or we don't like. But in fact, we need to look at the positive rather than negative. True or not? Same thing lah. When you want to buy something, you want to buy a handphone. If you like the handphone, you will look at the good feature only. The feature which is not good one, you ignore. True or not? So you will buy it. Same thing if you apply that concept. If you look at a person, only the positive side, you tend to go close to the person. But if you look at the person's only the negative side, you tend to avoid. That's his nature, right? That's his nature. And we have to look at the positive one. And then, this is important, manage them. If there is a conflict, we need to manage. Sorry, it's too, because I cut from the picture. Accept your partner's influence. Accept partner's influence means sometimes if you don't like, you need to accept. Accept means acceptance is there, you know. I have a case before with a couple before married. They came to me, and then we had a session, and then this lady came back from London, from England, finished study, master, then wanting to get married. The boy wanted to get married. Initially, that was the plan, but after getting back from UK, the plan has been delayed. And then they come to see me, and then check. I found out this girl came back from London, wanted to introduce something that she experienced in London. So cook something which is Western lah, to this boy. And this boy doesn't like veggie, don't like vegetable, especially kind of raw vegetable, something like that. Then this one want to cook already, not want to cook already and serve. And this boy doesn't want to eat or something like that. Then having a problem, issue. Then having argument from there on, lots of many other things come out. Talking about the lifestyle, talking about what's planned, marriage, wedding can be delayed, that is no issue, I want to build my career first, this and that. But it comes from the one small matter about cooking, right? Sometimes when if we pay attention to our partner, the intention that he or she did something to us, and accept that for that particular moment, many unnecessary things can be avoided, right? So I think acceptance is also important. We need to accept who our partner are, because they are already signed agreement with us, true or not? Statutory kind of agreement, right? That means we already married to us, and you trust the person. He or she trusts you, you also trust them already. So you need to accept. Learn to accept, I think, is also a key to manage conflict. Then dialogue about problem. This is like communication. We need to talk about the problem, right? Work on it. Positive, is it? Oh, sorry. Practice self-soothing. Practice self-soothing here, to me, I would say, is always remind ourselves to comfort ourselves if we are like getting angry, we are not agree with certain thing, the way our partners nurture the children and etc., the style of parenting. If we disagree, we need uh, to to soothe the situation. I would say is about mindfulness practice. Mindfulness practice, we have to mindful of our thoughts, mindful of our feelings, mindful of our behavior and etc. And from this mindfulness practice, in fact, you can uh, you can tone down your emotion. You can in fact be more rational rather than being affected by emotion, right? So that is important when we manage husband and wife's conflict. Okay, we need to accept who the person is. We need to communicate. Look at their eyes. Look at their eyes. And then we need to also like self management will be like self-soothing, practice of self-soothing, or I would say mindfulness. And then that will be make life dream come true, create shared meaning, and then the life will be meaningful. In order to have a meaningful life, it sounds very subjective and very hopeful. Subjective and hopeful, true or not? But in order to be at that state, lots of things have to be done, right? And especially dealing with conflicts over the time. Doesn't mean you can manage conflict between husband and wife at the age when you have first child. Oh, settle already. I can wake up early in the I can wake up in the midnight. You sleep. Daytime you take care. Oh, settle. Doesn't mean that only because your child will turn older, true or not? Turn older, going to kindergarten. Who is going to fetch? Who do this? Who do that? Going to adolescents. Who do this? Who do that? Over the time. So over the time, in order to get so-called functional kind of like marital satisfaction, and then to achieve this so-called meaningful life, right? So I think with that, I will close with this sutta. This is living in tune. Samajivina Sutta. Buddha said, if husband and wife are happy in this life, this sutta is given by Buddha to Nakula's father and mother. And these couples live a happy life. They never argue. They will accept each other, and they live a happy life, right? So, what Buddha say? It's good to see a couples with a happy life, functional life, I would say, the functional life. However, in order to maintain this relationship, to be in future, to be together, the husband and wife should have similar state of conviction. Mean they should have similar kind of like belief system. They should have a kind of belief system. If I believe A, you believe B, you won't be able to live happily, or not. If you have that belief and you put a vow to be together in future, it can be happening, right? And virtue, that means in terms of like precept, right? So if we have this precept together, then the husband and wife have a better trust, they have better commitment, and then they most probably that can contribute to be together. Generosity in many form, not necessarily in one form, but husband and wife have to be generous, right? Like wives want to give, I want to cook for this congregation. The husband have to support, get the material, buy the material, support. If the wives want to support cooking, for the congregation. And the husband say, why lah? You want to make yourself difficult? Having a different state of mind in terms of generosity, right? So generosity have to be in tune, and also discernment. Discernment, the way they look at things, the way they values any situation or happening must be same state of mind, right? Same state of mind, so that they can have a quite good acceptance in terms of situation. So with these four: conviction, virtues, generosity, and discernment, in fact, is like a saddha, sila, what do you call, um, bhavana, and generosity, dana, right? So these four aspects. Okay. All right. For after this, there is a questions formulated. What do you wish to do to maintain your partner's relationship? What do you wish to do? Right? So after knowing the advice from the Buddha to Sigalaka, and through the duties of a husband to a wife, through the duties of a wife to the husband,